to another episode of Timeout with Derek and Joe. For Joe Azalina, I am Derek Gano. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Today, we are jumping into another top five list. Top five. Now, we did a lot of these with the Major League Baseball players. Feel free to go out and check those out. All around the diamond, we went top five current catchers, pitchers, relief pitchers. Don't say outfielders. We haven't done that one yet. third baseman, second baseman, all over. So now we're going to be starting up with current in the NBA, and let's start with point guards. So Joe, there's a lot of names out there that we could have come up with. We just talked about how there were some names you're not going to see on here that you might think that they maybe could belong on here, like a James Harden or a LeBron James. You might think of them as a point guard, but we're going to be putting them as their technical position, which would be shooting guard, small forward, etc. So most of these guys, pretty much all of these guys, point guard is their standard position. We'll start off with my top five and two honorable mentions, and then we'll jump over to Joe with his top five and honorable mentions. Don't forget to subscribe while you're here. We appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and like the video to let us know you're enjoying it. Let us start off, Joe, with my first honorable mention, and that would be someone who I must say was very interesting. You didn't put him on your list. Obviously, he has the most triple doubles in the history of the NBA. Yet I have him as an honorable mention. That would be Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time scoring champion, 3-time assist champion, 2016 and 17 MVP. His team made the finals once in 2012. I would believe that was when he had Durant and Harden on his team as well. They lost to Miami and the big three there. First, as I said, in career triple doubles with 184. I'm not 100% sure if that's including the past few games, but he is first. Joe, Russell is very athletic. He can slash to the basket, score inside. He definitely is someone who's going to body up those smaller point guards underneath. A great playmaker, great rebounder for his position, obviously getting a ton of triple doubles. But I will say a reason why, while he has all those triple doubles, why is he honorable mention? Very inefficient shooter. You could see his stats in 2020, 2021, 43%, 31 from three. He takes a lot of shots in order to get those points at the detriment of his teams. And I question is he really going more for the stats than winning games? You looked at the years he averaged a triple double, 16 and 17, 17 and 18, 18, 19, and this past year, 2021, his teams finished in sixth place, fourth place, sixth place, and eighth place, with players like Harden, Durant, and Paul George, more recently with the Thunder. So that would be a long story short, Joe. That's why I have him at honorable mention, even though he's a triple-double king. He seems to take over games when he doesn't need to, and I don't really like that too much about him. But I gave him some love.
Well, he's a good pick. He definitely crossed my mind, but we'll see how I went in my top five, my honorable mentions. Russell Westbrook is actually from the University of UCLA. I almost fumbled that. I wanted to just say UCLA, but you know, it sounds weird. Russell Westbrook, there's a couple of things I noticed right now. He's been in the league for 11 years, and he has played. Is it 12 now? It's around there.
I think it's 12, but
Started
yeah.
at 20, now 32, so that's 12. Um, in those 12 seasons, yes, 7 out of the 12, he's played in 80 or more games. That's what you call durable. Like
Yeah.
there's a couple seasons where he played 57, 65,
Well,
46, but
that was the shortened year, 57.
right,
So
but still think about it. So
yes.
he could have played like most of his years are that he doesn't get hurt. That's what I was going for. He's
Mhm.
like he's on the floor a lot. I did read this stat that I thought was interesting. 3 seasons with 700 plus rebounds. That is a lot of rebounds. He's a 6'3" guard, so he's always been that rebounding guy. But I think you said it right, Derek. He's the slasher. He's the guy that gets in the lane. He has a pretty good jump shot, but he's not the guy like a Stephon Curry that can hit threes all the time.
No.
He's a very good player. I'm pretty sure he's a pretty good free throw shooter. If you know, it looks like he averages a pretty good amount from the free throw line. It's about 80% on average here. There's some years it was a little down, but yeah, what a great honorable mention. I'm pleased that you put him on your list.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's not really someone you really go for. I want him on my team. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's one of those really weird ones that you see. He averages a triple double. Why would you not want him on the team? But I feel like he just takes away from the other players. That's why. And I see it a lot when I see, he got 10 rebounds because he probably just didn't play defense there. He just wanted to make sure he got that rebound to get the triple double.
Would you call him selfish, or would you call him just a really? I mean, is that word? Oh, is that okay to use for him?
I don't know. It's more. I don't know how concerned he is with winning anymore. Especially when he went to Washington here. They're 4 games under 500. They just made the playoffs. They're officially the 8th seed, but if he gets 20, 10, and 10 and they lose by 20, is he that disappointed? I'm not so sure. So anyway, we'll move on to my second honorable mention here. And that is Trae Young for the Atlanta Hawks. This is the 3rd season for Trae Young. He's a one-time All-Star. In 2019-2020, he became the 5th player in NBA history to average at least 29 points per game and 9 assists in a season. He led the league in free throws this season, being 2020-2021, and he only played 63 of the 72 games. Consistent threat offensively, he drive to the basket, dishes out. He has a lot of options. He can drive and finish at the basket. He can drive and dish to those plenty of 3-point shooters they have, Joe. Horder and Bogdanovich, Gallinari. They have a ton of guys there in Atlanta. Hunter as well. Or he can shoot the 3 as well. He's not the most consistent from 3-point percentage, only 34.3 this year. Young is young, and he has an experience still. Obviously, this will be his first playoff appearance, Joe, and he can be bodied up. He's pretty small, 6'1", 180 is what pretty small guy. But the duo with John Collins there, who is 22, they're both 22. DeAndre Hunter's 22.
Cam Reddish.
They have a Cam Reddish. They have a nice young nucleus there. I can't put Trae Young up in the top 5 yet. He hasn't done enough, but I see him getting there going forward. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You know what's really interesting about him, and I'm going to be the one on this show today to talk about the facts. And he is actually born in Lubbock, Texas, which is interesting because he played his high school ball in Oklahoma and then went to the University of Oklahoma, Derek. That's a big contradiction because Texas and Oklahoma are a big rivalry. So I just thought that was really interesting to point out. He, to me, is one of those guys that you want the ball in his hands. He can get to the basket with ease. He's able to distribute, like
you
you
trust
said.
him with the ball.
Exactly. He's not that sharp shooter, but he's that guy that can get you the points. He probably averages, if I look at the stats, this year he averaged where are we here? Field goal per, he's about 50%. That's not bad. I mean, it's right in the middle.
For a point, well, that's
50%?
that's I'm not even sure which percentage or effective field goal percentage. That's what
Oh,
that is.
oh,
He was 43% this year,
okay.
which is still pretty. Yeah, actually, that's not amazing, but he does average 25 points this year. So
yeah, and he's got help. It's not like he has to do it himself.
Yeah, right.
He's got the help. You said the surrounding cast. Trae Young last year, Derek, became the fifth player in NBA history to average at least 29 points per game, and he averaged nine in his season. It sounded like
Assists.
more 9 assists per game in the season. I mean, there's only 4 guys that have done it before him, so he's in rarefied air right there. He's a heck of a basketball player. And you said it. If we do this show again, if we do a top 5 on point guards next year,
might be there.
He could be in the top of the list. I'm telling you. So Trae Young, very well deserved. Didn't make my list, but I like Trae Young a lot.
I'll be very interested to see what he does in the playoffs here against the New York Knicks. Obviously, the number 1 offense, as we talked about in our last show. So, number 5, Joe, another controversial pick, as you would say. Uncle Drew, they call him. He even had a movie come out for those that missed Uncle Drew.
Sorry.
Kyrie Irving. He is my number 5. 7-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2016 NBA champion with Cleveland. He was then traded to Boston, my Boston Celtics, where really he was supposed to become the man, right? He was always the understudy to LeBron James in Cleveland. He was supposed to be the man in Boston. Well, they finished second in the conference one year and lost in the conference finals. Then they finished fourth and lost in the conference semifinals to the Bucks, and then he left and went to the Nets. Last year, I think they finished like 7th or 8th in the conference. I think it was 7th. That was without anybody. And well, they were 35 and 37. So that was him as the main guy, Joe. He's a pure scorer. He can score from anywhere on the court. He can drive to the basket, mid-range, 3-pointers. You trust him to score. A killer crossover. One of the best in the league. Doesn't play defense too well. That's for sure. Maybe eventually, although, and you did even hear him talk, I think it was in the past week, who said that James Harden is the point guard of the Brooklyn Nets because he likes to play off ball. I think he likes to go around those screens and shoot rather than be the one handling the ball, but the one to distribute. That's why you could technically put James Harden on this list because he is the point guard of the Nets, you would say. Kyrie Irving is not. But positionally, he is a point guard. Joe, I did not like him when he played for Boston. I don't think he's a true leader. And I don't think he's ever going to be the man on a championship team. He is probably, I mean, he's a very good player, but he's probably the third option right now in Brooklyn behind Durant and Harden.
That's fair.
Joe, what are your thoughts on Kyrie Irving? Obviously a Duke boy, 29 years old now. He's been in the league for quite a bit.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts? He's not on your list, but what are your thoughts on Irving?
Well, he only played 1 year at Duke, and people remember that he broke his foot in that year too, so he didn't even play in the tournament. Very talented, but he can't get out of his own way. He's always saying something stupid. Just shut your mouth and play basketball. Like, honestly.
That's very true. For those that missed it, didn't he just say something that he's more interested in what's happening in the Middle East right now than playing basketball?
Now that's
okay. I understand, but you don't.
That's a great segue. That's a great segue, though. He's born in Melbourne, Australia, so he's not from the United States. So, But you're right. He's just not the guy that you want to be as your leader. He's not a leader. He's not a Stephon Curry. He's just not the guy that you want to be head of your organization. I'll tell you though, the one thing he does do well is he's got a lot of speed. He's very fast. He's hard to guard. He's not a good defensive player because again, he stayed 1 year in college and he did not ever catch up in the NBA. You just can't do that. I don't understand these guys that think they can do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he did play 6 seasons in Cleveland. He averaged 17.3 field goals there in Cleveland. The 2 seasons he played in Boston, you said it, you saw him for yourself. He wasn't great. He was okay. He was good, but he wasn't great. You're not going to forget about Larry Bird with him. I mean, you're just not. He wasn't going to be that iconic player. I get it why he's on your list, and I think he's really, really a good player. But to me, too polarizing negatively, and I know the talent should kind of outweigh that sometimes, but that's why I kind of kept him off, and he wasn't one of my favorite Duke players of all time.
I would be very interested to one day. You mentioned he was born in Australia. I don't know off the top of my head if he's ever played for the Australian national team. I would be very intrigued if him and Ben Simmons ever both played together on the Australian national. They could probably get. I mean, they do have other players as well.
But they would probably have a hard time sharing the ball with each other, though.
Well, that would definitely be the time I think that Simmons is the guy with the ball in his hand, and Irving would play off ball, which seems to be what he wants anyway. But yes, anyway, that would be very interesting. I'm a big national basketball person, so
yeah.
Number 4 for me. This can kind of go without saying. There's no real reason to debate this guy, Chris Paul. Getting up in years, he's 36, but he's my number 4 is Chris Paul. CP3, as he is known, 11-time All-Star, 4-time assist champion, 6-time steals champion, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive Team. He is currently number 5 amongst all point guards in the well, no, I think it's anyone. Number 5 amongst all players in the NBA history in assists and steals. More of a mid-range scorer. He can
definitely
shoot the 3. He's getting better as his years have gone on, actually, I think. Amazing passer, great perimeter defender. Always going to make plays and find the open man. Joe, you can't go without saying that coming on to the Phoenix Suns this year, he helped them go from a 34-win team and 10th in the East or in the West last year to 51 wins and 2nd in the East. That's amazing. I mean, it wasn't just him, but he was a main reason why he's probably going to finish in the top 10 in MVP voting. Negatives for Paul. Still hasn't made the finals. Those Clippers teams, Dunk City, when in those years with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, and Redick, those teams maybe should have made the finals. If there's one knock against Paul, he hasn't made the finals yet, but maybe he can do it with the Suns this year. Joe, I know you have Chris Paul, so we'll keep it light, but any quick thoughts on Paul?
I just remember when I used to watch him play against Duke because he was a big Wake Forest guy. He was the Wake Forest point guard back then. Mm-hmm. And I just remember number 3 coming down the floor. He still wears number 3, I think all his career. He was the guy I liked, though. I didn't want to see him do bad. I really enjoyed watching him play the game. He's a likable guy. And look at him now. He's Derek, he's a Hall of Famer. Like he's a Hall of Famer, and I don't think it's arguable. And finally, Derek, we got one the same. He's on my list, so I'll talk about him a little more later. But Derek, I think that brings us to your number 2 guy.
And I will say, if we ever do a top 5 all-time point guards list, he may get on there.
Borderline, we'll he has a chance.
Probably borderline, but he could be.
Good point.
Another one who is he technically a point guard? I say yes for his team. Maybe a shooting guard or small forward, but I think he runs the point mostly. That's Luka Doncic for the Dallas Mavericks. Now Dallas Mavericks. He is 22 years old. This is his third NBA season, two-time All-Star, 2019 and 2020 All NBA, 2019 or 18 and 19 Rookie of the Year. Um, had several professional years in Europe. I believe he played for Real Madrid while he was over there. Did lose to the Clippers last year in the playoffs in his only playoff appearance. He plays the Clippers again in the first round, so we'll see how he does there. 17 triple doubles in 2019 and 2020, Joe. Great scorer, all parts of the floor again, can shoot all over. Great distributor, big and athletic for a point guard. 6'7", 230 frame. Not the best defensively. Maybe that is because he's guarding guards, so that's a little more difficult for him. But not the best speed. You don't see Chris Paul like speed. Young Chris Paul out of Luka Doncic. And Joe, very interesting that, and both teams may be happy with that deal still, is on draft night, he was drafted by the Hawks, traded to the Mavericks for Trae Young,
Right.
and what ended up being Cam Reddish was the other guy. So Reddish and Trae Young for Luka Doncic. I wouldn't say that either of those teams is sad or mad about that, because both have become very good. Both are on my list. So Doncic again, Joe, is someone who's probably on your list. But any quick thoughts on Doncic?
I always say that when the guys get drafted from a foreign country, to always hold your breath, because you just never know how they're going to pan out in the NBA game. And this guy, I'll say right now, I didn't think he was a bust, but I wasn't sure. He can play, and he's proven it now. And I'll go as far to say is he's going to win an NBA title. His teams are going to be. He always has good players around him. There might be a year or two they rebuild, and maybe they have to rebuild it back up. He's so young. I mean, there's time, and just mark my words, he will have an NBA title or two by the time he's done.
It's real early to say if can he be a main guy on a championship team, or does he need someone else there? I think it's real too early to tell. He's not going to win one with the team he's currently on, I don't think. Porzingis is a great player, but they need a little bit more, I think, to even get past the Clippers. But
he needs another shooter. He needs another outside shooter, I think. Yeah. But we'll see. Yep.
Now this one, and I'm not going to forgive Joe for not having him on his list. I don't know what happened, but Damian Lillard is my number 2. I almost think he's creeping towards the top there, is Damian Lillard. 30 years old, 6-time All-Star is Damian Lillard, 5-time All-NBA, 2012 and 2013 Rookie of the Year. Played 9 seasons on the Blazers now, and they've made the playoffs for 8 years. So, and that's the Blazers. Made the conference finals in 2019. Top 4 in the league in scoring 3 of the past 4 seasons. 3rd in 3-pointers made the past 2 seasons. And I saw this online that in 2019, the general managers voted Lillard as the best team leader in the NBA. So he is that guy that you want to follow. He doesn't seem to be leaving Portland anytime soon, especially someone of his talent caliber. You would think would maybe go to one of those big teams and go with another big player, but he's been there with McCollum for quite a few years now. Obviously, for those that play video games, 2K21 Cover Athlete Standard Edition. legendary edition, I believe, was Kobe Bryant. Um, Absurd range from three. You see some of the videos out there shooting from half court. Driver, mid range shooter. He's great at it. Um, could be a better defender, but Joe, he's carried this Blazers franchise, and he's going to try to do it again as we go into the 2020 and 2021 playoffs. But I very much like Dame Lillard. He is a great player. Seems to be a great person as well, and someone who is number 2 on my list.
Yeah, listen, Damian Lillard. It's not like I can't say I overlooked him, but I think I might have overrated a couple of these guys. We'll get to it, and we'll see what you think too. I'll ask for your opinion on it. One of my favorite things is his nickname is Big Game Dame. Big Game Dame. That's pretty cool. We only went to Weber State, so he wasn't really a big name in college, but he got to be really good in the NBA. And yeah, he's a heck of a player. I'm not going to sit there and say he's not a heck of a player. I guess I liked a couple of my guys a little bit more, which is probably debatable now looking at this. But he has some great, and I'm a 3-point guy, so I always love 3-point shooters. So he's a Trailblazers all-time leader in 50-point games, Derek. That's a stat I just found. And right there, I guess I could say it all. He's a great 3-point shooter. And I guess, if you don't have anything else on him, which I'm glad that you gave him that pub, go to number 1, Derek, because we all know who we think it is.
Yeah, I don't think there could be much debate right now. So this is current right now, obviously not throughout the entire careers. That I might still give to Chris Paul if it was amongst all their careers, but current right now is Stephen Curry. 33 years old. He is a 7-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champion, 2-time steal leader champion, 3-time NBA champion, 6-time All-NBA selection, 2-time MVP, which, by the way, only 13 players in the history of the NBA have had multiple MVP awards. Top 3 this year for MVP, I think, but not favored. I believe that's probably Nikola Jokic. Even though he had 32 points per game, which is his highest average ever. Did it consistently in the playoffs. They're kind of struggling more recently. Maybe when Klay Thompson comes back, they'll be back up top again. But he is currently the greatest free throw shooter. Second in career 3-point field goals behind Ray Allen, but he's going to pass that next year. He's only 100 and change away from that. Joe, what more can be said? Dead eye shooter, great range, and he has that playmaking ability too, that you see from these other point guards, and another great leader now that he's 33 years old. Jesus, he's been in the league for a while, but I know you have Stephen Curry, Joe, so we're going to skip over your opinion until later on. How about you just get us started with your list and your first honorable mention?
So my first honorable mention comes to us from Chino Hills, California. And I just think that he's done enough already in his rookie season for me to give him the honorable mention. And that's the number 2 jersey number for the Charlotte Hornets. And that is LaMelo Ball. And he's a popular pick to win the rookie of the year, which made me like jump out and be like, all right, I got to get him on the honorable mention list. 6'6", 181 pounds. He had 15 points this year, 6 rebounds. So that's pretty good for a rookie. The only other couple things I really found was that he's kind of fearless. He plays with that he plays with that reckless abandon. He goes to the basket. He'll get fouled, But just the other thing that kind of stood out to me was, his percentage with his shooting. Yeah, maybe he can improve a little bit, but in 51 games, I'm going to go with the field goal percentage is 436. That's not, I guess that's an average. That's not like great, but it's not awful. He's arguably probably in the next 5 to 10 years going to be a really, really good NBA player. But he's got to grow into his body. He's got to, he's played overseas a lot. But I do like him a lot. And this is why I got him an honorable mention 1. So anything to add for Mr. LaMelo Ball, Derek?
And maybe he gets that, the whole family, right? So maybe
Right.
that's where he gets his demeanor. And you said it, probably the favorite, him or Anthony Edwards for Rookie of the Year. Good playmaker, good basketball IQ. He's smart. He knows where the ball needs to go on the court, it seems like. Still working on his outside shot a little bit. That being said, Joe, I don't think he belongs on this list. I think he has the potential to be there in 2 to 3 years. Maybe he can be on this list. I think it's too early, but I think
tell us what you think about in the comments. Tell us what you think about in the comments.
That's fine. I think he's got a lot to prove yet, though. But
hashtag
he
Joe,
should be there.
Either hashtag Joe yes or hashtag Derek no. That was no, I respect your opinion. Listen, Mike Conley Jr. is my other honorable mention, and he's from the Ohio State University. I don't know if I have his. Where is he here? He's 33 years old. He's 6'1", 175. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Wears number 10. That's my favorite number. So that kind of swayed me a little bit. So 16.2 points per game, 5.7 assists. He's a huge factor for why the Utah Jazz are where they are this season. And this is why I like Mike Conley Jr. Opposing players, Derek, are only shooting 39% when Conley is near them. Hello, that's called a shadow. And that's like, really interesting. I thought, I was like, I got to write that down. So Mike Conley Jr. is my second honorable mention. He's from Fayetteville, Arkansas. He does a lot well. He's been in the league now for 13 seasons. He's played a lot. Well, 1 year he only played 12 games. That's not good. But he was probably hurt that year. So one would think. And his career averages, though, again, he's 12.1 in the field goal attempts. Okay, 3-point percentage is not very good. But the field goals are pretty good. And I would say if I'm looking at a list and I'm looking at least an honorable mention list, I got to add him on there. And thoughts, Derek? Are you gonna hate both my honorable mentions? Oh no, I'm over 2.
No, I hate that one too. I've never seen Mike Conley as more than an slightly above average point guard. Honestly, he was. I will give him his due. He was very good this year. I think his 3-point percentage was over 41%, which is very good.
That's really good. Yeah.
But this was his first All-Star. He was never an All-Star before this year.
That's fair.
Above average, maybe a top 10. I don't even know there for me. I will say I found that 2018 and 2019 he was voted the best teammate of the year. So,
there you go. Great guy.
So there's that. If we're going for top 5 great guy point guards, then Mike Conley might be in there. But no, that's not funny. Not for me.
All right, number 5, Derek. Hopefully you like this pick. I'm over 2 with Derek's retrospect right now. Jamal Murray, the Nuggets point guard, number 27, 6'3", 215 pounds. To me, again, that sounds like he could be a small forward. He's a big dude, or at least a shooting guard. 30.6. He's averaging 30 points a game, Derek. Like, that's a lot. If I didn't write that down wrong, I think he's averaging 3 a game.
21 this year.
Oh, 21. Okay. So I did write that down wrong. Okay. Well, we'll change it. 21 a game. So I bumped him up a little bit, Derek. The Cavs didn't attempt a single against the Cavs. He didn't attempt a single free throw, making it the first time ever a player in the NBA scored 50 points without attempting a free throw.
Wow.
What a great nugget that was. You see what I did there? So Jamal Murray has been a good shooter over his career, from Kitchener, Canada. Derek, he was a Kentucky Wildcat. What do we say about Kentucky Wildcats in the NBA? They tend to do well. He was a first round pick, number 7 overall for the Nuggets. And He's only been in the league 4 years. Derek, do you like Jamal Murray on my list? Oh,
Another
great.
down. No. I mean, a great free throw shooter. You mentioned
Right,
that.
right.
Not
I mentioned
technically,
good
but
shooter.
he is a great free
Yeah,
throw shooter,
yeah.
87%. His points per game have been going up every year, Joe. 16.7, 18.2, 18.5,
He's young.
21.2 this year before he went down with a knee injury.
He's young. He's only
He
4
is
years
young,
in, you know.
and that's why I would not have him on the list yet. I don't
Okay.
think he's there yet.
All right.
He could. He is another one who could be more of an off-ball guy at some point.
Right.
Great 3-point shooter.
Yeah, that's a great shot.
I can't do it. No.
Okay.
He
It's
plays a
fair.
lot of minutes, so I think he could eventually become. It could be the Jokic. Well, it was going to be until he got hurt. The Jokic and Murray show. So
Right. Right.
we would have seen how far they could have gotten. I don't think they get too far without Murray, but yeah.
Not
Again,
for you.
ask me in 2 to 3 years, and we'll see where he is on my list.
Okay. Here's another guy you might not like, Derek, because he's very controversial. My number 4 guy is Philadelphia 76ers, number 25, Ben Simmons. And say what you will, he doesn't shoot the basketball, but he can handle the ball like nobody's business. And he gets to the basket at an alarming rate. He's 6'11", 240 pounds. To me, that screams power forward. He's an all-star. Or no, I'm sorry. He was athletic, great up and down the floor. I said easy to the basket. In the game against Utah, he had 42 points, 9 rebounds, and 12 assists. That was incredible numbers. I get it. You should be able to. I hear it all the time on sports talk radio in Philadelphia. You need to shoot the basketball. But if you look at his strengths, he has a lot of them. And I still don't know. Jury's out. Will he win a title? He might be one of those athletes that need to leave Philadelphia because that happens. We know that. So I'm ready, Derek. Are you giving Ben Simmons a thumbs down?
No, I'm okay. I don't like him this high. I don't like him that high, but I'm okay with Ben Simmons. He obviously he's been a 3-time All-Star, 2019, 2020 All-NBA, All-Defensive Team in 19 and 20, and he's supposedly one of the favorites for Defensive Player of the Year this year. Right there with Rudy Gobert, I know. Interesting. Yeah, he can't shoot.
No.
I know he's trying. Ish.
Yeah.
He is that per game. He averages 0.1 or 0.2 3-point attempts. So 30% this year, which is his highest. If he can ever get that up a little bit higher, if he could ever become a shooter, Joe, he is one of the most. He would be one of the most dangerous players on the court.
Ever.
For his size, very quick, great passing, playmaking ability. His points per game are kind of scary. They were up as high as 16.9. He's down to 14.3 this year. I'm not 100% sure what that's about, whether or not he focused more on assists. His assists went down too. So I'm not 100% sure what happened this year if you played through injuries or whatnot, but all of the stat numbers went down. I'm all right with it. I don't think he's there yet either. Because
he's young too, though.
I think the point guard game is going away from guy. He reminds you of like a lot bigger Penny Hardaway, but Penny, although Penny Hardaway could shoot a lot better than Ben Simmons.
They say Magic Johnson. He kind of reminds me of Magic Johnson.
I don't not nearly the talent level as what Magic Johnson was, but that's I think the game has kind of gone away from that. You see the most successful point guards, the Currys, the Lillards, the Trae Young, they all can shoot. Point guard position has become a position where it seems like you need to shoot. So Yeah, I'd be interested to see where he goes moving forward. I see a little tidbit here. He attempted a record 24 free throws in a quarter on November 29, 2017, which is only two other players have ever had that many.
Wow.
So he's going to get to the basket. He's going to attack you, but I'd love to see him shoot a little bit better. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll have to see.
All right, so we're not
I
gonna.
agree with these next three, Joe.
Yes,
Don't worry about that.
you have them all, and we're not gonna take too much longer because we don't want to beat a dead horse, as they say. But number 3, I have Chris Paul, the Suns maestro, number 3 on his jersey. 35-year-old, 11-time All-Star. Derek mentioned it. 16.6 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 8.8 assists through 31 games. That's all through 31 games. Sorry, it wasn't through the whole season. He was a good shooter, very good assist guy, and he just makes his teammates better. And I think the last thing can speak volumes or for why I have the Suns going far, and I actually said the NBA championship. Chris Paul is the guy that you'd want to be around. He just seems to be that guy. He's always helping out a teammate. He's been like that since college, and I'm sure high school. But Chris Paul will be one of the best point guards ever to play the game of basketball. And I think he deserves to be on this list. And Derek, me and you have him. I just have him, I think, a little higher, maybe a 3. But that's my reasoning. I have Chris Paul where I do.
Yeah. Love Chris Paul. We'll see how many years he has left. Probably you would think about 2 to 3 more. Maybe you can get higher up those all-time lists, but definitely a worthy addition there, Joe. I like Chris Paul.
Number 2, I have Luka Doncic from the Mavericks, wearing number 77 on his jersey. Big time scorer, many triple doubles. He gets a lot of points in the paint, even though you think he's more of a shooter, but he does hit the elbow jumper, helps, he'll get on a fast break and hit the jump shot. He can move the ball around the court, and that's what he does. He gets the ball to Porzingis. He gets the ball to Jalen Brunson. He's kind of the facilitator, but he's still a good small forward. And I think a guy like Luka Doncic is going to trend upward. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. He's going to win an NBA title before he's done. And he's not going to be the foreign bust that we see so many times. I like Doncic, and he's proven he can play the NBA game. So that's a big thing for me. And,
yeah,
I don't know if you have anything else on Luka, but if not, I'll tell you who my number 1 guy is, Derek.
Yeah, no, he'll probably within the next maybe even 1 to 2 years, you might see him top of this list, because I think I had him 3 and you have him 2. So
right.
There's not too much difference between the top picks and Doncic. Great player, great to watch if anyone's ever watched any games with Doncic. Great guy to watch too.
Number 1 is Stephen Curry. I liked him since he was in college. As another guy like Paul I followed. He burst onto the scene at Davidson, and he just took that NCAA tournament that year and ran with it, hitting free throws, hitting shots. His younger brother Seth's a good player for the Sixers. He had some good career moments too. But Stephen Curry is what an NBA player is. He shoots the basketball extremely well. He handles the ball very well. 29.9 points, 48% shooting from the field, 41.5% from three-point range through the 33 games of the season. I listen, there's not too many guys in the NBA that you fear. And I think when you play against him, you have to fear him because he's that good. And he'll be him and Doncic 1A and 1B to the Hall of Fame. It's just, and Paul, those 3 should go in. But
a little early on Doncic, I think.
All right, but he's
Curry and Paul, I think, are going.
Yeah, Curry and Paul should go. Yeah, that's true. Doncic is young. That's true. I just meant the potential Doncic has is ridiculous.
Yes.
But yeah, Steph Curry. What do you say about him? He's a winner, and he's won a championship. So I think he's won a couple now. So
3. Yep.
I want him to be more healthy. I'm not going to lie. And I'll end up playing with him in NBA 2K eventually, because I don't like to play the good teams all the time. I like to play some average teams. But Steph Curry, Derek, he's going to round out my list. And do you want to give us your guys again? Yep. Just run them down.
Let's run through our top 5s. My first honorable mention was Russell Westbrook in Washington. Second honorable mention was Trey Young for the Atlanta Hawks. Number 5 was Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn Nets. Number 4, Chris Paul, Phoenix Suns. Number 3, Luka Doncic, Dallas Mavericks. Number 2, Damian Lillard for the Portland Trailblazers. And number 1, Stephen Curry for the Golden State Warriors. And Joe, your top 5.
Okay, my honorable mention number 1 was LaMelo Ball from the Hornets. Mike Conley Jr. is my second honorable mention from the Utah Jazz. Jamal Murray was my number 5 with the Denver Nuggets. My number 4 was Ben Simmons of the 76ers. Number 3, Chris Paul from the Phoenix Suns. Number 2, Luka Doncic from the Dallas Mavericks. And number 1, Stephon Curry from the Golden State Warriors.
So that was our top 5 current point guards in the NBA. We hope everyone enjoyed the video. Feel free to go back and watch some of our other NBA videos. Last week, we talked about the NBA playoffs that are starting up this coming week right now. So feel free to jump back if you missed that one. And moving forward, we'll probably do some throughout the playoffs as well. But final thoughts, Joe, before we get going.
Just when I researched the players, I felt like it was going to be an interesting show. I'm glad we had 3 alike because it shows you that, again, like, you don't want to have everybody the same, but you also want to have a couple alike. And I think that was cool that there was no way we couldn't leave 3 off. I thought it was interesting that you didn't like a couple of my guys. That's okay. we all have different. We say this before, we'll say it again. We don't make fun of each other. We just do a little teasing.
Right.
Sometimes on the Timeout with Derek and Joe. So keep liking, keep commenting. We're going to be back before you know it. A couple of days, we'll do another show. No spoiler. You'll have to check it out. YouTube, podcast platforms. Derek tells you all the time, keep doing it. Because like I always tell you, we're not going anywhere. So Timeout, Derek and Joe.
Be sure to go out to YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, give us a nice little click. We appreciate that. All podcast platforms we're available on. Go check us out if you just want to listen. Twitter, Facebook group, and email us, timeoutwithderekandjoe@gmail.com. We can always answer some questions if you want to send them our way. As always, everyone, thank you for taking time out of your day to spend some time with us. Stay safe and take care.